Hey there. It's another beautiful day. Let's watch some stuff.
I have this poster that exposes every conspiracy theory on the planet. Today, we will decode the truth on DARPA. Welcome to DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, the driving force behind groundbreaking technological advancements. Its mission, to prevent technological surprise and maintain the technological superiority of the United States military. Established in 1958, DARPA pioneers innovations that maintain national defense superiority. From the creation of the internet to the development of stealth aircraft and even autonomous vehicles, DARPA has been at the forefront of technological innovation. DARPA's research efforts span a wide range of strategic focus areas, from artificial intelligence and robotics to biotechnology, cybersecurity, and space exploration. DARPA relentlessly pursues breakthroughs that have the potential to reshape the future of warfare and civilian life alike. This branch of government has technology hundreds, if not thousands of years more advanced than what we think is currently available.
Okay, first of all, did you see that poster? I'm gonna have to get another poster. I've been working on this one. I've been coloring it in as we go. I mean, you can't really see it from here, but it's like a little rainbowy thing going on back here. But yeah, that's a cool one. On this DARPA stuff, what the F is DARPA? I had no clue about this DARPA thing. I don't pay attention to like TV stuff and politics and news, and I have problems as far as being involved with the world until as of late. So, we're going to be doing some research on DARPA. I'm excited. Here's a few things.
DARPA Avatar Project. Yeah, the DARPA Avatar Project. What it is a sentient world simulation. What this is they got a quantum AI computer, which is gathering information on everybody in the United States. Other countries doing it, but everybody has an avatar, just like you make an avatar for your Facebook or whatnot, and that represents you. This computer has built a digital twin of you inside of this computer. What they saying it does, your thoughts can be grabbed out of the air. And that's what they say they are doing, and they are feeding it into your digital twin. And at the same time, they say they are shooting ideas out to your brain because you are connected to your digital twin to see how you will respond. The whole goal of this, the end game, is to have a beehive mentality for all of us. So we will move in coordinates, just like bees do. You see how they got worker bees, they got this bees, and they got one brain in there, the queen. They got one person. The signals are going out just like they're going to be trying to do us. Yeah, on some real, look it up. DARPA Avatar Project.
So that sounds awfully complicated. So they've got these little avatars. Are they like actual they can't be actual bodies. They have to be digital, right? So they got this digital avatar that's doing what I'm doing as I'm doing it, thinking the same thing and reacting to it. So is it like sitting there flailing its hands about right now? Talking about them? Do they know that I'm onto them? Probably not. Hey, thanks so much for stopping by today. If there's a topic you'd like me to cover, let me know down in the comments and I'll do my best to get it in an upcoming video. If you're having a good time, please hit that like button and consider subscribing. And then come back tomorrow, because I'm making a new video every day.
This is the injectable microchip DARPA wants implanted in the brain of every soldier. The Brainstorms chip will allow recipients to control weapons with their thoughts and turn off emotions like fear and anxiety. Brainstorms uses nanotransducers that are guided to the brain with magnetic waves. Once at the target site, they convert neuronal activity into magnetic signals that can pass through the skull to be decoded by a helmet-based receiver. Patents show that this technology can even modify neural wiring, which raises the terrifying question: does the bidirectional design mean that soldiers can also be controlled?
Unbelievable, isn't it?
What? How the heck have I gotten this far without looking into DARPA? Holy monkey. Woo! Brain chips? Chips in your brain to disable your emotions for like fighting and stuff to make machines move. That's crazy. That is absolutely, that can't be true. That can't be true. That's crazy. It might be true. I mean, hell, if they're hiding all kinds of alien technology, why not? Right?
66 Secret Service agents, Green Berets, Black Berets, crack troops lost their lives because the government, our United States government, lied, did not tell us anything about the alien threat. There's a war underneath there, and I'm talking serious. It's been going on since that time. Since late August of 1979, our military, the Russian military, basically the militaries of the world, have been in constant conflict with the outer space alien. The small gray, the large gray, the reptilians, the whole thing. There are 11 distinct races of aliens. 2 are benevolent. 1 had to leave here in a hurry because their world is under attack, both on the surface as well as underground there.
So apparently, in Dulce, New Mexico, there is this huge underground network of caves and bases and all of this crazy stuff where these gray aliens are just kicking it, right? They're just hanging out. That's where they've been running their little operation where they go and abduct a person, come back here and diddle with them and then kick them out in the middle of nowhere, right? This is what's been happening apparently. And humans are well aware of this. I guess at one point there was a huge war between them and it got crazy and people lost their lives, but that's just where they're just hanging out. That's where it's at.
There is a weird, mysterious animated cartoon. It's been on YouTube for, it looks like, 10 years or so. But this has also been circulating as one of the most layered cartoons. It's called I, Pet Goat 2. It's a little eerie because there's so many layers to it. There's a lot of symbology. People, I guess, say that you can watch it backwards, you can watch it forward, you can slow it down, you can pause it. Every single detail in there has meaning. People have been, I guess, debating the meaning of this video for, well, since it came out. For 10 years. One guy actually said you could watch it upside down and get stuff out of it, just every which way you watch this. There's a lot of conspiracy stuff in there, you see presidents in there being controlled by this puppeteer, mysterious hands are puppeting Bush and Obama and all that stuff right in the beginning scene, and then kind of looks like there's some kind of apocalyptic event that happens, and then there's some religious things in there. There's it seems like they try to shove all the different world religions in there. I haven't watched it backwards yet, but I can play it backwards in my mind. I can definitely see that there is a message, and I have an idea on what that message is, but I'd love to hear what you guys think.
So I had never seen this I, Pet Goat before, and it's pretty crazy. I looked up a bunch of references to it, and people break it down frame by frame and assign some kind of just ominous meaning to it. I'm going to show you one of the clips that I've found. I'm not going to play the whole thing. It's 9 minutes. So I'll just show you a few pieces of it so you can see how much they're breaking it down. And I think it's a breakdown of I, Pet 2. There's 1, 2, and 3 apparently. So yeah, it's pretty, just watch.
Also a map, which I find pretty interesting because it has pins stuck in these certain locations. There's one on New York, there's one in New Orleans where the man-made Hurricane Katrina hit, there's one in Oklahoma City, possibly a reference to the Oklahoma City bombing, and there's also one in South Florida and the Gulf of Mexico. This is possibly some predictive programming or a reference to the monster storms they are now trying to create in that area every single year. But either way, it's obvious that they're marking these false flag events and other things on the map behind Barack Obama. I mean, there's even more I could dissect here, but for the sake of time, I'll move on to the next scene, which is equally telling and disturbing. Let's take a look. The whole scene is to represent the SRA rituals that they do with children in order to create these mind-controlled slaves. And it's through this gigantic network of mind control victims that they have been able to bring forth the forbidden fruit and give birth to the age of the Antichrist. And here it's being symbolized with the lotus flower, which is a symbol that is mainly attributed to Buddhism and the idea of enlightenment, but that is exactly the message that the Antichrist will come preaching.
So the film did feature George Bush and Barack Obama, And they're like talking basically about post 9/11 like society and how things have just changed after that event. There's a lot of symbolism in these films, and they're like alluding to like the Illuminati and how 9/11 was an inside job. It's really crazy.
Something came up that I didn't really think about when my dad mentioned it to me. He's worked in the agriculture industry for over 40 years. This year, farmers are being offered 1.5 times the value of their crops to destroy them. They're also being told by the federal government they will not receive subsidies for farming if they refuse to destroy their crops. What does that mean? That means that the farmer cannot afford to provide you with food based upon the taxes the government is levying on him if the government doesn't in turn give him back his tax money to provide you with food. Kind of a system, but that's how it works. And, well, they're not going to subsidize them if they don't destroy the crops. They'll pay them more than what it's worth, and they want them to destroy it, and they'll still get their subsidies. They're trying to create a food shortage.
All right, Jerry Howard, my brother from another mother, got me looking at this stuff. This particular video was a while ago. It was actually in 2020, but I had to keep digging because that wasn't the topic that we were looking for. But it started there, and it's just crazy. Like, they were like, hey, stop farming. Why? But look what happened in 2022.
Over 18 food processing companies burned down. Are they all being burned down?
Fire at the Saladino food processing plant. Now, here's a look at the fire last night near Shaw and Golden State. Several employees had to be evacuated from the building while firefighters put out the flames.
So just moments before we went to air tonight, a plane apparently crashed at a General Mills plant, a food plant in Covington, Georgia. 6 tractor trailers were reportedly on fire. You're seeing pictures from the scene right now. This is the second time in a week that something like this has happened. On April 14th, the plane crashed into the Gem State Processing in East Idaho. What's going on here? Well, the story gets weirder. Food processing plants all over the country seem to be catching fire. A couple of days ago, a fire destroyed the headquarters of Azure Standard, one of the largest organic food distributors in the country. At the end of last month, a fire severely damaged a fresh onion packing facility in South Texas. In Oregon, a potato chip processing plant just reported a boiler explosion that sent workers to the hospital. Here's a news report on that.
Eastern Oregon, where crews are battling a major fire at a potato chip processing plant. Air 12 flew over the scene at Shearer's Foods on Highway 207 in Hermiston. We're told the fire was caused by an explosion of a portable boiler there. 2 people were taken to the hospital.
So industrial accidents happen, of course, but this is a lot of industrial accidents at food processing facilities at the same time the president's warning us about food shortages. They're getting hit by planes and catching fire. What is going on here?
It's like in 2020, these farmers were approached saying, hey, stop producing food. We're going to give you a bunch of money. Just don't do it. And a lot of them were like, no, we're not going to do that. We need to keep producing food. But that's when we were in the middle of a pandemic. So they're like, hey, stop producing food while everybody's getting sick, everybody's freaking out. There's going to be less food. But they didn't do it. So in 2022, they're like, okay, crap, they're not following through. Let's take out some manufacturers. 18 of them. I don't know how many there was in total that actually went, up in smoke, but that's awfully, it's an awful coincidence in such a short period of time, how many of these food manufacturing companies, food producers just kind of, and then some of them were hit by planes. How crazy is that? That's just, and it doesn't end there.
I want to ask you about this Dutch news. I read a report overnight that the Dutch government's set to close 3,000 farms to comply with new EU, is it not UN, this is European Union rules. What's this about, Graham?
Well, it's part of their environmental measures to close down farming land close to environmental properties that they want to give greater protections to. And I'll say I haven't studied the exact areas and know what the environmental values are they're trying to protect. But it really is the process of bureaucracy wanting to regulate how industries that have existed for long periods of time, suddenly, because of regulation, they have to pack up and move on. We've seen pushback through Europe, particularly in the farming communities, to some of the impositions that are being put on them. And I think it's something that the Australian farming community should be pretty alive to as well.
So it's not just happening in the United States. The World Economic Forum has got their fingers all over this. And they're just like, oh, we need to stop farming over here. We need to stop farming over there. We need to stop farming over in this place. And why? Because we want to protect this other thing going on over there. But you don't understand. They can't just, this is like families. There's not, you don't just go out and, I did it. I skipped a whole bunch of sentences, didn't I? All right. So you don't just go out and buy land and decide to become a farmer. Most of the time you're born into it and it's a family tradition and you just keep it going, right? This is not just pick it up and go somewhere else. That's not how it works. These poor people are going to be out of their livelihood, but that doesn't matter because you heard from the horse's mouth themselves just the other day how the wants to depopulate the planet. What a better way to do it than to just start starving people. It sounds like a generational plan. Like they remove the food from the people and then people have a hard time buying what food is available, which leads them to not have children or to encourage their children to potentially not have children, which in turn reduces the population. That sounds maniacal.
For the last 20 years, we've been attacked by the political classes telling us how to farm in the countryside. Colin Martin Rayner. I'm a farmer, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I've been doing it for nearly 500 years. Not me personally, but the family. Wheat, barley, oats, beans, maize, and cattle and sheep. We've had enough. We don't need townies to tell us how to farm. We're now being paid to stop growing food and grow wildflowers. It's insanity. And we're thinking of ceasing our production after 500 years. My view is we've got this political class is out of touch with us farmers. We work very hard. Debate in the House of Commons last week, there was a handful of MPs in the chamber. They should hold their heads in shame. At the moment, we are stopping producing wheat, which makes bread, which everybody in this country eats. We've been paid to grow wildflowers. We need to have food produced and made in the UK. We can grow everything. Okay, we can't do bananas and grapes and avocados, but we can grow everything else. But people say, well, we can import from abroad. The same madness is happening in Europe. They're asking farmers to plant wildflowers instead of food. Okay, we could bring food in from Brazil. Do you know how they do that? Cut down the rainforest. Is that sensible? I don't think it is.
Generational farmers being paid to stop growing their food and start growing wildflowers. The comment that Jerry actually left was that the World Bank had demand farming end in 2030, by 2030. And I did some looking up and it's like, oh, that never happened and the World Economic Forum is not taking over farms. No, they're not. But what they are doing is they're imposing rules and protections for adjacent lands, so that these farms are like, oh, I can't farm here anymore because now there's a protection on my neighbor and that's going to cause a problem and I'm either going to get, in a lot of trouble or I better stop. And that's what's happening, which does, like I said, it makes food less and then it makes food cost more and then people rethink having children, which generationally will reduce the population. It's an evil plan and it just might work. On that note, I'm going to call it for today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Come on back tomorrow. We'll watch some new stuff. I'm going to say different things, and it's going to be fantastic. Until then, have a wonderful day.